Alright. Hi there, everybody. It's me, Supercar Curtis, the host of Descent of Decennium, the channel you're watching now. Hi there if you're new, and welcome back to everybody else. So, today's video is going to be on a very interesting car. We're going to be discussing the BMW M4. Alright, so this video is going to start with a bit of a controversial topic that I 100% believe. In my opinion, the BMW M4 is the most accomplished BMW to ever exist. Alright, so now that the 325IS owners are upset, let me explain myself. Stay tuned. So, the BMW M4 has an incredible level of complexity to it because it has existed for decades as the two-door M3. And the BMW M4 is classed as a compact executive car, just like the 6 Series and the E-Class from Mercedes, and anyone with 2 eyes and a brain can clearly see it don't belong there. So, to get into our story, we need to go back to September 2013 when BMW released the technical specifications for the BMW M4. So, the all-new M4 will be powered by the S55 engine, an engine engineered and developed specially for the M4 and its much bigger sibling, the M3. So, a question commonly asked by non-car people is why are the M3 and M4 classed as two different vehicles, even though they share the same engine, same chassis, and make the same amount of power? Well, have you ever seen when there's twins and one's a little fatter than the other one? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. The M3 has 2 extra doors, it's a little bit fatter. So, the S55 was a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder that redlined at 7,600 RPM. The S55 engine used 2 motor-scroll turbochargers to produce 425 horsepower and 550 Nm of torque, which was beastly in 2013. So, the reason I believe the BMW M4 is the most accomplished BMW is because of the many different variants that came out and the different things all these variants achieved altogether. So, the first of these variants came in 2016 with the M4 competition package that had a 19 horsepower boost, making now 444 horsepower. Very nice, pleasing number there. So, it also got new revised suspension for better handling, new spring dampers and anti-roll bars. BMW also retuned the electronic differential and dynamic stability control to keep up with the upgraded hardware. So, the interior of the competition remained unchanged because it was already perfect. That's how things work at BMW. The competition car also got the new lightweight M Sport seats with M-striped woven seat belts, which looked really nice. So, the exterior upgrades include the M Performance exhaust with black chrome tips, gloss black kidney grille and side grills. It also has a new M badge on the trunk, which has the competition logo right underneath it, which looks really nice and super sexy. So, the next time someone says there's no difference between a regular M4 and the M4 competition, you tell that person to shut up. So, the M compound brakes came standard with blue calipers, while carbon ceramics with gold calipers came as an available option. Due to the cockpit being so well insulated, BMW had to pump artificial engine noise through the speakers. So, BMW claims they pumped in the engine noise through the speakers to reduce road and wind noise that was coming in, but I cannot confirm nor deny this because I was in grade 1 when this decision was made. But having been in an M4 myself, I can confirm they sound pretty shit when they're stock, so you definitely need to get an aftermarket exhaust for one of these. So, the BMW M4 is based on the F32 4 Series, but it only shares 50% of its components with its smaller, less competitive younger brother. And this number only goes down every time the M4 is revised. So, going back to my original statement of the stock M4 sounding a little bit shit, BMW noticed this as well and they offered the M Performance exhaust, which turned up the burbles and made it sound a little bit more fruity. But unfortunately, in 2019, the WLTP mandated that BMW add an OPF filter to meet emission regulations in Europe, and unfortunately what happens in Europe has to go around the world, so when they came to South Africa they had the new OPF filter as well. And since BMW doesn't have the balls that VW has, they followed the rules, stopped selling the M Performance exhaust and made all the cars sound rather bland. So, the M4 came with a 6-speed manual and a 7-speed DCT. The DCT sprinted from 0 to 100 in 4.1 seconds while the manual took 4.3. But unless you've driven a twin-turbo Huracan or the brand new Porsche Turbo S, you're not gonna feel the difference, buddy, so don't worry about it. And since the M4 only weighed 1,572 kilograms, the power-to-weight ratio made it a force to be reckoned with. And just like its predecessor, the new M4 came with a carbon fiber roof, unless you spec'd it with a sunroof, which was a pretty silly move, buddy, because those are going in value. So on the new M4, carbon fiber was also used for the boot lid and the engine brace. And for the first time in a long time, BMW prioritized raw performance over driver enjoyment and added an electronic power steering system that got the job done. But almost immediately, critics complained and said it took away the feeling of driving a real raw M car, and BMW listened. So the biggest performance difference between the regular M4 and the M4 competition was that the M4 competition now sprinted from 0 to 100 in 4 seconds flat. So if you're not impressed, you should be, because we're officially entering supercar performance in a rear-wheel drive sports car designed and based on the regular 4 Series. So in 2015, at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, BMW unveiled the M4 GTS concept for only the richest owners to have a look and consider buying. And since an overwhelming amount of these owners said they were interested in buying it, and more importantly could actually fucking afford it, BMW had no choice but to make it. So the M4 GTS was officially going into production. So, the GTS is the track-focused version of the M4, limited to 700 units for the whole world. And to be honest, this Bavarian beast is an absolute marvel of engineering. So, it came with the same S55 engine but now turned up to 493 horsepower, which is practically 500, and it now had 600 Newton meters of torque. So, this was a massive power boost, and it came from something Americans think Africa doesn't have. Water. All that fucking power really did come from water. Let me explain. So, to be precise, it was actually distilled water. So, the new M4 GTS used a nozzle water injection system, which is very similar to an aftermarket water meth system that can be installed by a tuner. It was still cool to see BMW use this technology 20 years after everyone else had abandoned it. So, on top of this power increase, the GTS is 27 kilograms lighter than a base M4. The GTS sole has been revised with a set of OLED lights, the first to be used on any BMW. It has a stripped out interior with a full roll cage. BMW M4 GTS has less soundproofing and a full titanium exhaust, making it absolutely sound mental. I think that was the other way around, it's supposed to be sound absolutely mental. But yeah man, you get what I'm trying to say. So, the M4 GTS also has manually adjusted 3-way suspension by KW and a new adjustable carbon fiber front splitter and wing that add up to 28 kilograms of downforce in the front and 95 kilograms of downforce in the rear. That's the equivalent of Idris Elba, yeah, the world famous actor. Yeah, that's the equivalent of him sitting on the back of your car trying to make it stick to the ground better while it's sending 600 horsepower to the ground. So, the GTS got up from 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds and topped out at 300 kilometers per hour. It lapped the Nürburgring in 7 minutes and 28 seconds, which is faster than the 718 Cayman, the Lamborghini Huracan LP610-4, the M5 CS, the Mark V Camaro ZR1, the SLS, the Audi R8 V10 Plus, the Corvette Stingray, and the Zonda F. It's also faster than the F12 Berlinetta and the Koenigsegg CCX. But more impressive than all of that, the M4 GTS is also faster than the Lexus LFA Nürburgring Edition. The vehicle Toyota spent billions of dollars developing to do one job, drive around this track. Yeah, the GTS is faster than that. So, the only car that has an identical time around the Nürburgring to the M4 GTS is the Porsche Carrera GT, which should just give you a scale of how impressive this rear-wheel drive coupe really was. So, it's time for some context. BMW does not have a clear, distinguished example of their own supercar. They just don't. Audi has the R8 and Mercedes has the AMG GT, but BMW does not have one. And the i8 is not a fucking supercar. But if we're being completely honest, BMW doesn't need a supercar because they have enough crazy cars like the CS or the GTS to fill a supercar-sized hole in anyone's garage. So, the GTS is an incredibly rare vehicle all over the world, but since only 23 units came to South Africa, that makes it super duper duper ultra rare here in South Africa. And by some luck, I've been able to spot a few of these units. I've only seen around 6, which is way more than I thought I was going to see back in like 2018. So, my favorite of all the M4 GTSs in the country is one car that I was happy and lucky enough to spot on my own, the M4 GTS known as Steeda. So, Steeda is one of the hardest driver and car combinations in the whole continent. So, Steeda is the white M4 GTS, which is extremely modified, and behind the wheel is an extremely skilled driver with an incredible level of skill that is only matched by, I'm not gonna say names, but if you know, you know. And fun fact, Steeda was the first BMW to wear our Descentos plates. Of all the cars in the country, he was the first one to wear that. So that's a very big shout out to him. Thanks. Oh yeah, by the way, did I mention that the GTS cost 2.2 million rand? Yeah, that's enough money to buy you 3 regular M4s, but I genuinely think it's worth it. The GTS is absolutely mental. So, this is where the GTS party ends, but the M4 party keeps going. In 2014, Marco Wittmann won the DTM season in his BMW M4. And to commemorate this, BMW made the road legal M4 DTM. Marco raced with the number 23, so 23 units of this DTM were to be made for the whole world. And in 2016, when BMW won the DTM championship again, they released a second round of DTMs, but this time there would be 200 units. But all 200 of the cars had to wear the same white spec as the original GTS that won. And performance-wise, the DTM was pretty much identical to the GTS. So, in 2017, when BMW announced the M4 CS, CS standing for Competition Sport, all the fans knew they were in for something special. So, on the M4 hierarchy, the CS sits above the regular competition but below the GTS since it only has a 9 horsepower boost. CS is also 16 kilograms lighter, has a custom carbon fiber hood/bonnet. This car is extremely valuable due to the difficulty of getting allocation for one of these. For some reason, BMW made a Jahare Edition M4 in 2018 that was a convertible, came in Macau blue, and was only sold in the UK. Pretty strange, because the UK definitely isn't one of BMW's biggest markets, so I don't know why they got a limited edition for themselves. Next came the M4 Heritage Edition, limited to 750 units globally, with only 10 of these units coming to South Africa. The Heritage Edition comes in 3 distinct colors: Laguna Seca Blue, Velvet Blue, and Imola Red, which are the 3 best colors to symbolize the BMW M colors. You ever seen those red, blue, blue, and red on the BMW? Yes, those are the colors it symbolizes. And interestingly enough, all of this happened in the first 5 years of the M4's life. So, to get into the second half of the M4's mighty decade, we take it to 2020 when the G82 was released, and this car was immediately hated for being ugly. The first mistake I think BMW did is launching this car in green. Holy shit, that green was ugly, bro. It made it look like the pigs from, what's that swiping game? Angry Birds? I won't lie, I was there. I was on the front lines of Twitter and Instagram calling this car ugly, because it fucking was. But just like me and everyone else, we changed our ways and started to like the M4. The hate was very, very, very short-lived. Once the cars reached their owners, all the hate was silenced by the overwhelming positive reviews. The M4 had the all-new 3-liter S58 engine, which was an inline-6 making 551 horsepower stock. The M4 now did 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds. It topped out at 280 kilometers per hour. But those two numbers only tell a fraction of the story, because the G82 is much more than just a regular M4. The M4 had a vicious raw driving experience, and since the S58 is just a revised B58, it left a lot of power on the table for tuners to extract. And extract they did. So, in May 2022, BMW debuted the all-new M4 CSL, which was 91 kilograms lighter, made more power. It now produced 543 horsepower. It had a beautiful exposed carbon with red accents all throughout, and was limited to 1,000 units for the whole world. And later in that same year, in November, BMW unveiled the 3-liter CSR, which was an ultra-rare concept based on the M4, which had 553 horsepower, and it was meant to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the M division. And only 50 units were made, and they were all hand-built at the BMW factory in Stuttgart. I have no idea how I'm going to spell that. But more importantly, this car costed 13 million rand. That's supercar money at BMW. Just some context, 13 million rand could get you a SVJ. 13 million rand is SF90 money. Oh, sick to my guts, bro. The next special to come for the M4 was the Johari edition, which added custom wheels, new red and grey paint, but not many other changes were made, and only 5 models ever made it to South Africa. But what sealed the M4's legacy is its incredible presence in the aftermarket car scene. Plenty of tuners and drivers have enjoyed the pleasure of turning these cars up to 1,000, sometimes 1,500 horsepower. In the past 10 years, the M4 has absolutely sealed and cemented itself as the best BMW, or the most accomplished BMW, because of how much it's achieved for the BMW aftermarket/car scene. It's really an affordable M car. It took away all the hype that was originally going to the M6 and M5s and brought it down to the market that would target okay, I'm rambling. I'm just gonna be a little bit of a yap session here. It brought all the guys who would originally put down money for an M5, M6, and it put them in something that was much more aligned to their interests. It was a nice, nimble sports coupe that came with enough options to cater for everyone's range. Whether you had just enough money to buy it or you had a ton of money and you're willing to buy the best of the best, BMW made the M4 and it catered to you. And even if you got your M4 and you had it at home, that wasn't the end. You could literally tune this car to as high as you wanted to. You could get incredible horsepower out of it, as long as you change the crank hub. Ooh. If you know, you know. But as long as you put down the correct amount of money, you knew what you were doing, you could build a drag car, you could build a drift car, you could build a GT, you could build a cruiser. On top of that, if you really wanted to, you could just go and buy a M3 and cover all the problems. The only issues that this car ever brought up is the fact that it was impractical. But if you had enough money, you could just buy an M3 and cover those issues yourself. So the M4 is absolutely incredible. I think I'm going to do a video next week or the week after ranking some of my favorite M4s in the country, like Stira, Giuliano, who else? I don't know who to mention here because maybe like, why am I picking and why am I having favorites? But there's a lot of incredible M4s in the country. Thanks for watching this one. Thanks for sticking through. I hope I calmed down all the 325IS owners that were going to be angry at the beginning of the video. I hope I explained my points and was able to rationalize why I think the M4 is the most accomplished BMW. So please remember to do the standard YouTube stuff. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope to see you next time. Cheers.